Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the 9 p.m. English News Edition. Here are the headlines. Steering Committee meeting on the current health response situation. Marshal Haftar says he accepts a truce in Libya. Hello, welcome to our newsroom for having the news in details. Prime Minister Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed chaired this morning a meeting of a steering committee at the People's Palace. During this meeting, the Prime Minister gave an update on the situation of the ongoing health response. The meeting was more focused on the scientific committee, whose chairman, Dr. Abdullahi, gave a presentation on the intensification of the means of response, including the implementation of targeted screening. The exchanges of this meeting between the members of the steering committee focused, among other things, on the ways and means necessary for the reinforcement of the health system's capacities. The Prime Minister urged members of the government to pursue and intensify efforts to manage this health crisis during the blessed month of Ramadan. At the end of this meeting, the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, reviewed the situation on the new measures that the government has put in place. Now, concerning the data of COVID-19 in Djibouti, this Thursday, 30 April, 2020, presented Dr. Salah Abunayta Trab. We have 509 tests performed, 12 cases positive to COVID-19, 66 cases cured after more than a month of epidemics. The balance is as follows: 12,250 tests were performed, 1,035 positive cases, 477 are confirmed cured. With the stabilization of the number of positive cases, this shows once again that healthcare staff is doing a remarkable job. We should be congratulated both in terms of detection the cases and the search of contact person. Remain vigilant in respect of all measures that have been taken. Stay at home. Now, at this moment of mourning of the death of our comrade and historical leader Ali Ghali Abubakar, Minister of Investments, on behalf of the Executive Committee, the Central Committee, and all militants of our party, we pay a solemn tribute to a man of honor, valor, and great humanity toward his fellow man. The death of comrade and brother Ali Ghali, the food has lost not only a pillar of its construction, but above all the one that could have formed the backbone of its prospect in the years to come. The nation has lost one of its best servants who transcended both political and ethnic cleavage. This quality made him one of the best collaborators of the President of the Republic, who paid a deserved tribute. While we were putting his remains on the ground in the nation's meadow and in the presence of the head of state around midnight, an old man sitting on the floor was muttering these few words that sum up the general national feeling. Mohammed Isa Faraj, Secretary of Decentralization, Djibouti's ambassador to Belgium, Omar Said, Mohammed Ali Kamil, Djibouti's ambassador to Russia, and his wife, Djibouti's ambassador to Morocco, the ambassador of Djibouti to the United States, Mohammed Ziad Douali, and the embassy's staff, the Palestinian ambassador to Djibouti, Kamil Kazzaz, German ambassador to Djibouti, Anke Holstein, ambassador of Djibouti to Ethiopia, Mohammed Idris Farah Abane, Mohammed Qayad Saeed Abu Yasir, Dr. Muhyiddin Al-Hajj Abdurrahman Ahmed Taha, Gure Maike Uto, former chief of staff of the Primature, Ali Daoud Ahmed, director Economic and Development Fund, Abdu Sanalasi, Andrew Prefect Yoboki, Prefect of Al Sabih, Prefect of Tajura, Hassan Dabali, Omar Hussein, President Regional Council of Tajura. List of people who sent condolences to the family and friends of the deceased Ali Ghali Abubakar. His Excellency Haji Awal Arba, President of the Afar region of Ethiopia, Mrs. Aisha Muhammad Musa, Mr. Elama Abubakar, Mr. Awal Wagris, Ambassador Hassan Abdul Qadir, Mr. Mohammed Hassan, Mr. Golbi Sile Golbi, Mr. Saeed Ahaw, Mr. Gado Omolo, Mr. Mohammed Tayyib Haji Bidar Ali Bidar, Mr. Mohammed Hamid Yayo, Mr. Yasin Abu Bakr, Mr. Yasin Mohammed, Mr. Ahmed Mohammed, Mr. Ahmeddin Abul Wasi Haji Yayo, Mr. Muhammad Ali Maki, Mr. Ismail Ali Siro. All these personalities of the upper region of the Ethiopia, composed of political leaders, wise men, and investors, convey their deepest condolences to the whole family and relatives of the deceased Ali Gele Abubakar. Ali Dini, local sub-prefecture in Dora in Tajura, the customary chiefs of the Yoboki sub-prefecture, Muhammad Hassan, Council of Minister of Health, Kamil Hamid, Deputy of Obok, Hamid Ali Umar, Sub-Prefecture of Alaylu Dada, Hamid Saeed Muhammad, of President of Fruit in Obok, Saleh Muhammad Dini, Okal General of the Mabla, Ali Angardo Hassan Okal, General of Obok, Abdullah Hassan Maiki, Chief of the Village of Obok, and Abarbah Musa Okal Maba, General Manager of the Napoleon, Mr. Ismail Umar Abdullah. The different personalities addressed their sincere condolences to the family of the deceased. And now, Minister of Labor, he in this blessed month of Ramadan, the Minister of Labor held this his first day speech for the workers yesterday, Wednesday, May 29, in his office for this March 1st day, which will always remain in the hearts of all workers, a very important anniversary. And he said, ladies and gentlemen, workers, in this great privilege to convey to you all at the outset the very warm greetings and wish and happiness and congratulations expressed by His Excellency the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Umar Gele, to the workers of Djibouti and elsewhere. In my capacity as Minister of Labor, I also take this opportunity to express to you that both the Ministry and the employers are in osmosis in your dreams, in your apprehensions, in your questions, in your reasoned certainties, but especially in your ambition, which tend towards our common goal of guaranteeing social justice and decent work everywhere in the country. I must salute the relevant strategy initiated by the government, which has enabled the supportive population to act early and vigorously in Djibouti City and in the interior of the country, with the necessary measures taken to contain the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, such as barrier gestures, distancing, etc. I address a special thought to all those who are suffering from this disease, and infinite gratitude to all the health personnel, our insecurity forces, and the people of Djibouti who have respect the instruction given. I would also like to thank the social partners who, with self-sacrifice and a spirit of continuity, are doing their best to fulfill their roles in supervising and organizing the world of work in this difficult time. Ladies and gentlemen, workers, in view of the magnitude of challenges to be met, social dialogue with workers for a peaceful social climate is one of the conditions for the success of our country's recovery process from this crisis. Indeed, the legitimate objective can certainly only be achieved through the joint efforts of the public authorities and the social partners in unequivocal condition and confidence. The national response to this pandemic has been proactive and has made it possible to implement all means to preserve the activities and sustainability of businesses and the health and safety of its employees. For example, the day after the address of the nation by His Excellency the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Umar Gele, who called on Djibouti to stand together in the face of the most serious health crisis that our country has experienced since its independence, an initial decree was issued to regulate the labor market, which instituted exceptional measures during the COVID-19 pandemic to avoid suspension of contracts in a perspective of economic stability. The overall report of the Economic and Social Resilience Program identify immediate action in medium and long-term post-pandemic strategies to cushion the national economy from its must be said sectors such as tourism, hotels, transport, building, and people works, among others, have been severely affected. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems to me to be quite judicious to enumerate at ease and happily some of the decisive measures that have been taken to combat the spread of the disease while seeking to mitigate its pernicious effect on the economy and the labor market. Among other things, it is worth noting with pride the constitution of the steering committee, the creation of a response and solidarity fund called the support given to the most deprived of our population in confinement, both the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity and the UNFD, the largest public utility entity in Djibouti. Survey on the socio-economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. It is a singular privilege and pleasure for me to mention the adoption of the partial activities mechanism initiated and decided by His Excellency Mr. Ismail Umar Gele, the President of the Republic. This working system is characterized by its relevance and originality and constitutes a device to help companies facing economic. Thus, this proposal allows employees to receive an indemnity to compensate for their wage up to 70% of their gross salary. The indemnity is financed up to 30% of the gross remuneration of employee placed in partial activity by the state. The remaining 40% is paid by the employer to enable companies to avoid dismissal and to maintain their skills and employees to keep their jobs. This is the most recently and unprecedented initiative in the Djibouti labor market that promotes the civic and responsible engagement of our businesses, which will also benefit from other accompanying measures such as the deferral of the levying of tax and social security charges during the period of COVID-19 pandemic. The Ministry of Labor in charge of the reform of the administration, which is keen to play its part in the fight against this pandemic, welcomes identifiedly the taking of such initiatives to protect workers in both the private and public sectors. The MTRA's proposal includes a strengthening of the occupational health and safety program, which is undoubtedly effective in ensuring health at work, a vital contribution to the fight against the pandemic. Strengthening the labor market regulation system to maintain the focus on decent work, strengthening the dynamic culture of social dialogue and cooperation in the workplace, which is essential to consolidate the response to the crisis. Reflection on the creation of employment insurance to provide temporary income support to employed workers while they look for work or upgrade their skills, strengthening social protection and supporting jobs and incomes. In conclusion, I reaffirm it is with an unshakable faith in a republic rooted in its value of unity, discipline, and work that we will win the battle in this crisis. Finally, I extend a positive thought and my deepest condolences to the President of the Republic and to the close family of the late colleague Ali Gele Abu Bakr, and Allah welcomes him to his eternal paradise. Inshallah, inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Now, the Minister of Postal and Telecommunication and Communication, accompanied by his colleague from Higher Education, visited the Faculty of Engineering this morning. He was able to visit the Fab Lab, which is a creative space that has worked on several projects focused on the coronavirus. The Minister was able to see a prototype of a mechanical artificial ventilator, a device that consists of supplementing or assisting the spontaneous breathing of a patient with respiratory complication. Automatic control of the patient's ventilation and oxygenation equipped with a control system and monitoring station will allow doctors and medical staff to control several parameters such as tidal volume, expiratory ratio, respiratory frequency, etc., and to visualize all the patient's information. The device worked thanks to 3D modeling, 3D printers, and CNC machines will be easily duplicated, but also 3D visors, facial screen for the nursing staff to protect themselves against sputter or droplets, also printing in 3D. The good development also by young people of the engineering faculty, a disinfection tunnel automatic system of disinfection that will be deployed in institutions such as airport, hospital, places of worship that will allow to spray with sodium hypochlorite. The two ministers were thus able to test the machine, which works perfectly. And now a donation of medicines and medical equipment for the treatment of diarrhea and vector-borne disease has been granted by the Russian Federation and the Secretary General of Health, Dr. Salah Bonita Turab. The President of the Russian Ambassador in Djibouti, Mr. Mikhail Golovanov, and the WHO representative, Dr. Ahmed Zwaitin, was also noted. This important donation from the Russian Federation is being made through the World Health Organization in response to the emergency situation caused by the recent floods, consisting of tents and medical equipment, screening materials, and kits for the treatment of diarrhea and malaria. This donation from Russia comes at an opportune time for the strengthening of prevention and treatment of priority disease. All the more so as in this period of COVID-19 pandemic, the treatment of this disease is also a priority for the Ministry of Health, which is strengthening its system for the prevention and treatment of waterborne and vector-borne disease. The main doctor of this contribution, the Russian ambassador, Mr. Mikhail Golovanov, recalled the close ties and relation between the Russian Federation and the African nation. For his part, the Secretary General of Health, Dr. Salah Al-Bunayta Turab, stressed the importance of this donation from Russia, which comes at an opportune moment. This is it for this edition. Thank you for watching us and have a wonderful night.